Someone said at a conference, solar agent or mega team. There's no in between, and I truly believe this. You cannot survive in this industry, or you're not very profitable at a couple agents. You have to have, in my opinion, 15 to 20 producing agents for it to really make sense.
Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we got Blake and Leah Davenport. I have you guys as the fastest growing team I can think of in the area over the last couple of years. So congratulations on it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us come into DC. We don't leave Arlington often.
I was shocked that you told me you guys haven't been in this office before.
Yeah.
You're in Arlington a lot. Discover Arlington. By the way, amazing Instagram page. If you guys aren't following it, make sure to follow it. So we were chatting a little bit earlier about kind of back in the day, you guys would do some tour, or you would do tours on Thursday, you would do open houses, brokers opens, you got lots of engagement. So talking about Arlington, what's your favorite spot right now in Arlington if you were to buy a house?
I love Westover. I just love that neighborhood, and I love the surrounding right behind it. I'm a person I want to be able to walk to things and know I have a coffee shop very close by. Right now we're right behind Boston, so I could get into Boston really quick, get Sweetgreen, go to Compass, Good Company. Those are my most visited spots probably.
Boston, the whole renovation of the mall, they did a good job, right? And all those
I'm waiting for the Whole Foods.
What's your take on that?
Well, I think it's what we moved here when
I think it's a slow burn.
It was like a ghost town, and you would walk in the mall and the Regal, and nobody was
sketchy.
there.
It was sketchy.
They did a great job of revitalizing it, but they did a horrible job. I don't know if the space couldn't hold it. All the stores in there, they should really have regular retail stores. When you go in there, it's still
Mosaic District.
They need mainstream, H&M, and maybe they don't have enough space for that. And then my neighborhood, I was thinking about Westover as well. I would say it really just depends on what the person is looking for, because there's so many different neighborhoods. But Westover is a good mix of a family feeling neighborhood that you still have walkability. It's in North Arlington, so it's maybe a tad more affordable than the comparison of it. Many people don't know about it because they only know about Boston to Roslyn, the Metro line, because that's where most people live when they first move here.
Is there an area in Arlington you would not live in?
I would never live in Crystal City area or National Landing.
That's actually a
and
good
that's
point.
all. There's actually so much going on there now, which I feel bad saying that. It's just for us, it's very inconvenient with the job that we're in, and it's just out of the way.
They did an amazing job with the whole Met Park area and everything that's going on there. It feels like a different place. Doesn't feel like home. The whole Pentagon City is kind of touristy with the Ritz-Carlton and a mall there. It feels like people where they stay when they get bussed in, stuff like that.
Talking about you guys, the growth that you guys have had is truly unbelievable. I was talking earlier, I can't think of another team in this area that's grown faster than you guys the last few years. If I'm correct, last year you guys did around 65 million. You're going to do 120-ish million this year. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll do somewhere definitely over 100 million, which has honestly been the goal for the last several years. But we finally, one of the things when we realized we've stumbled into all of this, really getting into real estate, and then people said you should have a team, so we did a team, and then we realized, wow, this is great, but we're not making that much money. Now we need to really grow for it to make sense. Someone said at a conference, solar agent or mega team. There's no in between, and I truly believe this. You cannot survive in this industry, or you're not very profitable at a couple agents. You have to have, in my opinion, 15 to 20 producing agents for it to really make sense.
I think this is a great point for people out there that are getting into real estate. Should I sell my own? Should I start a team? A lot of times, the research we've done is brokerages are just not that profitable.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. As people think about, hey, should I join a team? Should I do this? Talk about the pros and cons of kind of you guys doing teams versus being a solo agent. In fact, we have a big team that we work with, one of the biggest teams in the area, and they recently, after building a team for 15 years, are like, you know what, I'm just going to sell my own.
I would say from the point of view from an agent, joining a team, you're getting that structure, you're getting that accountability, but you're also getting that culture. So when you're feeling like you're alone or you're struggling, that's where you have that team support. And that's one thing I love about our team is the culture and just everyone really picks each other up. Everyone, when someone sets an appointment or, they get someone under contract, it's like everyone is like cheering them on. So I think that's the one thing. That would be my point of view from the agent.
What I will say is we didn't really realize this when our team started growing. This is really the core concept that, in my opinion, changed things. You get what you focus on, and you have to have a clear vision of where you're going. And probably 99% of people, ourselves included, did not have a clear vision of where you're going. I say this to our agents all the time. You can't expect to get in a car and just you need to know where you're going or you won't get there. And it depends what you're trying to achieve. A lot of people chase the money in real estate because they see, the $1 million house, $30,000 commission, but they're not realizing everything else that goes into it and the lifestyle that you have to do to grind it out. And I think that's where it's first understanding what are you trying to achieve. And then if you're trying to achieve, hey, I want to make more money, but I want to have a better lifestyle, then that's where your focus needs to be different, and you need to understand what actually causes.
Yeah, it's a good point. When we started the title company, it was Matt and I think we had one employee at the time. And we were like, okay, we can make a decent amount of money if we do all the work. Like us three.
Yeah.
Like us three.
Yeah.
Now, one of the problems was I don't know anything about titles, so I couldn't help them out. So that was a problem. And then it's or the next phase is we need to go from 30 deals to minimum 100 deals. There's no in between there because you have to have, as soon as you get over 30 deals, you have to have 6 employees. So if you're going to have this, you have to have a funder, you have to have a pre-processor, you have to have a processor, you have to have backups, and so it's some people have the business where they just do everything and they stick at 20 or 30 deals and it's fine. It's fine. But then you have to make that question. Do you ever want to go on vacation? Do you ever want to see your kids? Do you ever want to be able to actually take off? Because in those situations you can't. And it sounds like you gotta, in a sense, you're thinking about that stuff. Hey, do I just do everything on my own? And then I go on vacation. I still do everything on my own. Do I ever see a vision where I can go on vacation? Other people can do things, right?
Along with that, one of the best books that I think for changing your perspective is 10x is easier than 2x. It's that same concept that most people think, if I want to grow, I just need to work harder, versus you need to ask yourself better questions and saying, what if I was to do, you're saying 30 deals, what if we had to do 300 deals a month? What will we have to do? And then
differently.
What will we have to do differently? And those are the things that you probably should be doing now. One of the blessings, I think, from growing the team and just this whole entire process is it's forced us at least forced me to not try to do everything myself. And it still is a constant battle, but also just the leadership aspect of it. In some ways I'm still not a good leader, and it's an everyday struggle and challenge. But I've never told you this. One of the things that I think is the best going to be offset of the team is just learning how to quote unquote raise the children, the teammates from no sales to a lot of sales, and I can think that would be a learning lesson for our children. The fact that I'll already learn how to handle and manage and deal with issues and stuff like that ahead of time. Still be my challenge though.
Yeah.
I agree. If you're right into real estate, I think it's great to join a team. You get the education, you learn from people, the culture, all of it's lonely, especially if you have no business and you're starting off. With that said, for those people who are thinking about starting a team and be the team leaders, I think I heard you say once, you've grown 3 years in a row, but you're making less money as you've gotten to the most sales you've ever had. Yeah. Can you talk to that a little bit?
First thing I'll say is you need to understand profit. Anytime that you're having a business, you need to understand what makes you money and what are the expenses. You can get sucked into this thought process of we just want to grow and we want to.
We just want to hit 100 sales or whatever.
Puff our chest out and say we did 100 million. Well, you could do 100 million, but you could lose money, or you could do 1 million, you could make more money. So I think understanding again. We didn't have a clear focus of why we were doing it. We were just doing it to do it. And that's where you can kind of get your head down and then you wake up and crap, at the end of the year, we made less money than we made last year and we worked twice as hard. And I think until you realize that change won't happen.
You both came from a consulting background, is that right?
Yes.
I think it was
I was at EY.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
IBM.
Yeah.
I was doing IT auditing.
Oh,
And
that's
I did
so
not go to
exciting.
school for
So
that.
exciting.
Well, basically, I got in there and I had a nervous breakdown and called my parents and I said, this is not what I went to school for. And it was one of those things that was like, is this just supposed to be my first job jitters, or is this like truly like, what the hell am I doing? I lasted for about a year and a half, and I always wanted to do event planning, so I went into event planning from that. I was doing wedding planning and doing event planning at George Mason's law school. Meanwhile, he was hating his job at IBM, and he got his license.
Cool.
And I also got my license, and I was like doing that part-time while he made the switch full-time, which he can explain. But
Yes.
so I did event planning for 4.5 years.
Cool.
While doing
In this
real
area,
estate part-time.
DMV?
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and that's when everything went online, and I was like, this is so boring now, like everything is like a webinar.
Yeah.
That's when the rates dropped, and our real estate business just completely took off, and we can talk to that, but I realized like there's enough money in it that now I can go full-time into this. So it was.
And then you had started what year when you got your license?
I got my license in 2016. We moved to the area in 2015, and then again I was at IBM, and then I got it 6 months into IBM. I was like, I can't do this. So we went from like being wedding photographers to like, because we really like traveling.
We wanted to
like,
be different too. Like we
Yeah.
didn't want to just do something boring. Like So we were trying to
Well,
figure
we
out
wanted
what
to travel. You have to make money.
Love
It's hard,
traveling,
to live here and
Yeah.
do that. So 2016 is where I got my license, but it wasn't until 2017 where we did it full time.
Awesome. And so one thing I think is very unique about you guys, and I would love to know how much this has resulted in your success, is Discover Arlington.
That started again. How am I different?
Yeah.
When I liked photography at that time. When I got my license, like the day in January 2016, I was like, we should start an Instagram account, because Instagram was like getting.
It was new, basically.
It was newer at that
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and Discover Arlington, Eat, Live, Explore, and we were.
Well,
posting
also part of it was
Yeah.
everything was in DC, and
Yeah.
we were living in Arlington, and we were like, there's just a lot going on in Arlington. There's a lot for young people.
Sure.
How do we just showcase this and start going to things and trying to meet people?
Was there like one post that occurred that kind of took off, or was it a slow build over time?
It was a really slow burn. I mean, we only had 14,000 followers probably back in 2022 or 2021.
Yeah.
So it's grown more recently. I wouldn't encourage people to do it now.
It's a lot harder now with the algorithm and everything. It's not the same. Like
Yeah.
everything's constantly changing with social
Yeah.
media trends. Versus
Yeah.
back then, you could post something and it was more organic. And now it's just harder, I think.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
it's-
until COVID, and really we got a website and we started doing home buying workshops where we were physically pulling people out of it. It's a distraction.
Yeah, once
for a
we
lot
got
of
the
people.
CRM and then realized, oh wow, there's a thing called a CRM, and then
Yeah.
started doing those workshops. That's when
Yeah.
2020 it was like, oh, we could do another one, and we could do this online, and we could keep doing them, and we could do 3 a month.
Yeah.
And then we were just sitting like in our living room like doing these, and then we're like, we can't handle all the people coming in, and that's when we realized we might need to get another agent.
Yeah.
So
I know it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you think about like what's on the news or whatever. Yeah, it might. You see people doing speed tours. You see people doing like different things on social media.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of these people that have really good followings. It's like, hey, how many deals do you actually get from this? And they're like, maybe one.
Well, I will say that we have capitalized off of it, and like last year, 68 million, probably fit around 50 of it was from the Instagram in some ways. But we do a lot with it. We have like 7 full-time people, and probably 2 to 3 of them are on that Instagram. So that Instagram is not cheap.
Oh, well, that's good to know. So, like, in a sense, it was worth it, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, even for us, right? So, like, you had asked me earlier, like, why do I do the podcast?
Yeah.
And at the very least, it allows me to bring in our customers and talk to them and get to know them better.
Yeah.
And create a better relationship. That has been the best reason for it all.
Yeah.
Now, are there some other things that have popped up? Yes, they have. Do they happen all the time? Absolutely not. But every once in a while, it's like, wow, that person reached out to us, and now it's a good thing, even though most of the time, 99% of the time, it's not like we're getting new business from a podcast.
Yeah.
You know?
No. Well, it's also hard to quantify.
Yeah.
Because you may get business, you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
And that's what we estimate.
Yeah. And we were talking about kind of stickiness and like why do we do what we do? It's like, man, why do you guys have a 360 machine? Why do you have, it all comes back, in my opinion, it's like, I don't want to give people reasons not to use us, or there's little things like, you know what, I'm going to close it out because the 360 machine, my customers love it or whatever. And you guys, it seems like y'all are always doing, we do it this, we do this, we do this, and it all adds up to reasons people should use you.
Well, I think that's the beauty of social media, where that's where you should do it, is it allows you to learn about the person, who they are, and kind of get a feeling. Like, I'm sure all of us follow people on social media, and like they feel like you know their kids and you know their dog and all this. So it builds that trust, and that's the one thing that, most conversations start. We've been following you for years. We know about X, Y, and Z. Like, this is great, and I think that's by you doing this, it shares more light on who you are, and you give off energy. People want to be around that energy, and that's the beauty of social media. But if you're not talking at all and you're just running through houses like you were mentioning, I think you're going to get attention, but you may not necessarily. You're going to also rub people off the wrong way, because maybe they think, well, you're just doing this. What's the expertise in it? So it's the double-edged sword, and we got sucked into the whole TikTok trend when it first started. We were doing all these dancing videos, and it was a huge waste of time. And I think that's where some people can get sucked into that, because it's more fun than the traditional making calls and just talking to people. This is a contact sport. You need to contact people. I think that's where it can be a huge distraction, and that's where I usually discourage it from our new agents until they have a footing.
You talked about earlier, like thinking with a purpose, I think you said, or strategically thinking, which goes down to everything that we do. It's like, how are you going to convert this? Do you have a conversion strategy? You have 2 full-time people working on Discover Arlington. Talk to me about like what you guys are doing and how you're converting, because you're saying like people are, like, how are you engaging with these people? Are you proactively reaching out to them because they follow you? What does that look like?
Part of it is just, we're very fortunate that they've been following us for a long time. Even just Alexis saying like, oh, I feel like we know you. It's just a lot of that. So when one of our agents calls them, like if they sign up on our website, it's like, oh, I know Discover Arlington, or I've been following Blake and Leah. Like they think, like, oh, I love your son Liam. Like they just know. So that's a huge help. We definitely do well with our home buying workshops, like Blake was saying. People sign up for those every month. And then we do Tour Thursday. We've been doing that. It's evolved over the last 7 years, Tour Thursday. So we'll go out.
A tour Thursday.
Thursday, And we were doing this before the whole tours became
popular. With
popular.
Brokers Opens. I would go to Brokers Opens on Tuesdays, and then I would start just posting.
It used to just be photos.
Stories and photos of houses to create engagement. And I was getting like 3,000 people at the time. And then like, I was saying, guess the price. And basically on the polls, and that's where we were getting probably a 70%, like actually, so like 2,000 people were actually responding to it. And then we would drive them to our website, because in the olden day in Instagram, you had to have at least 10,000 followers to have the link option. So we were then linking them. They were signing up on our website. But it's amazing to me that people could be following you for so long, but you still have to like pull them to where you want to be, and you have to call them and like again have the sales skills to be able to get them to like actually want to have a conversation with you. I think one of the biggest mistakes that new agents make is, honestly, I think like 99% of the agents in this industry make, is that our skill. If you were to play, did you play any sports growing up?
Yeah.
What sport?
Soccer, football, basketball.
Okay, soccer. How often did you practice dribbling a ball, shooting a ball, passing? That was all you did.
Yeah.
Real estate agents, our passing the ball, shooting the ball is our ability to speak to people. Our ability to convince them why me versus somebody else. No practice. Never. Nobody does that.
Right.
And that's where our team has been able to grow very quickly, and we've been able to take a lot of new agents who have absolutely zero sales experience / facial hair, and like they can sell 15 houses a year within the first year or two, because just your ability to speak to people.
Now, do you guys like train and practice like real world conversations?
Daily.
Favorite spots to go in Arlington? Like, give me some hole in the wall as well as your favorite spot. Hang out.
So I had to think about this one hard, but like I think a hidden spot that not many people know about is the quarter deck. That's in Roslyn. It's like a seafood place. Really, really good for crabs. That's probably like the hidden gem. Again,
I love that. I'm a big crab fan and did not know about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Definitely.
it's so
That's,
good. It's
I
been
would
around
say,
a really long
it's
time.
really, and like, very authentic. That's probably the best place that I could say that not many people know about.
For me, it's Village Sweet. It's in Westover.
Okay.
It's a bakery, and I think that she should just like get blown up like in a good with marketing. She's everything there is so good. They're only open till like 12. They're closed like 2 days a week, and they like you go there by 9 and like all their scones are sold out. It's really good.
Yeah.
I do have some rapid fire questions that some of them we've already answered. One word that describes the Davenport group.
Ambitious.
I like that word. I thought of fun, but I think ambitious is better.
Nice. What's your favorite tool or app for managing your business?
We have several. Probably one that not many real estate agents know is Sisu. It's like a transaction / goal. It's a lot of different reporting and all that.
We use it for our agents, for them to
yeah.
have their goals in there, but we also use it for all of our transactions and our TCs use
All
it. It's
tracking numbers
amazing.
and stuff like that. Dashboards. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Definitely working together.
I was just gonna say that. You know, it's been a challenge.
Yeah. No, but it's also really nice because I think real estate's a really difficult career. You're working a lot of nights and weekends, and pre-baby, it was easier, but I think that we understand each other and give each other that grace.
Tough question for you, but looking back, would you do it again?
I would say so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would do
I
it.
don't think we definitely have our differences. I can't imagine not working with her. We both get it. We both have, again, we're moving in the same direction. We would not be in real estate / be profitable if it wasn't for me, but we wouldn't have a team if it wasn't for her.
You guys ever have rules where it's like, hey, listen, it's dinner, we're not talking about
We're
this.
trying.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to
I actually
push.
think we're really good at dinner time. We don't really talk about it, but that's because we're so tired. I
That's
literally
No
like.
way, no. It's funny actually when she quit her job. I actually think it was harder because it used to be she wasn't in the know
Yeah.
that much, and now it's like
Yeah, you guys know.
8 o'clock. She's like
details.
typing away. I'm like, we have to stop. Like
Yeah.
I need a mental break and stuff like that.
Having
It's
a
not
baby
gonna
has
change.
changed a lot though, because it
Yeah.
just you
Yeah.
literally have to allocate your time
Yep.
to another human. So it kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
forces you to say like I can't do this anymore. Like I have to stop after a certain time.
Is the baby in daycare?
No,
No,
we have a
nanny.
nanny, so he
Okay.
sees us
Yeah.
all the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
One thing you think every client should know before they buy a house?
I just think that people think that it's like, well, oh, I'm just going to work with them because they're a realtor and you're a realtor, so it's the exact same. And I think that ultimately falls on us for better articulating our value, and that's with all the lawsuits, we have to articulate our value. But I think that is just the constantly pounding our head against the wall, saying like, why don't they see the difference?
Mhm.
Because there is
Because
a difference.
everything we do, we strive to provide an unmatched experience. That's
Yeah.
our slogan. So
Yeah.
it's like we get frustrated when we hear about, other friends have situations with their realtors and stuff like that.
What's the number one question you guys get from a buyer? Number one question you get from a seller?
I feel like from sellers, it's like, how much do you charge?
Yeah, what are
Yeah.
you providing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what are you providing?
What are you going to do to market the property? From a buyer, number one question, really.
I feel like when we ask that question when we're meeting with them, on a consultation, they're always just saying, we just want someone that's honest, that's going to be very
Hold our hand.
transparent. Yeah, going to be very communicative throughout the whole process. Because in this area, everyone is very type A.
Yeah.
And they're like, they want it now.
Yeah, sure.
And they want you to drop everything now.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
I guess how to get a lower interest rate, how
Yeah.
to compete in multiple offer situations. We filmed in our last house. Just again, me on a camera, just doing it myself. Filmed every step of the process. You're
Yeah.
under contract, and that like basically our TCs then send them a video and say, "Congratulations,
Like,
you
here's
got
what
under
to
contract.
expect."
Here's the
Mhm.
next steps." Blah 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 blah. All right, you're doing your home insurance. Here's 3 things to know about home insurance.
So on those videos, I know they're always asking like, hey, who should I get for homeowners insurance?
Yeah.
Who should I get? What are those other questions that they need to...
So
need to
this is where
understand
Sisu is, because again, our slogan is discover an unmatched real estate experience. We want to create, and with growing a team, the hard part is you may do it a certain way and you have a certain standard, but then as you grow, have other people, they don't do it to the same standard. So with Sisu, you can break down, it's like a 100-step process from the time they get under contract So like they get every little detail, and it lives on our YouTube channel, like the buyer process where you could see everything. Let's just say I show you a house, you're like, I really like this, I want to make an offer. By the time I get in the car, I send them an email that says, here's 3 videos, here's how to write a personal letter, here's how if you're thinking about making an offer, this is what you should consider, and then making an offer, all these things. Yeah. So when I sit down with them, the conversation's 15 minutes versus the hour.
And that's kind of the goal. Is like, how do you? Some people, they want to go on YouTube and research this, but they don't know where to go. So we can create a channel that has all those questions, like what exactly is a financing contingency? What is, what does the home inspector actually do? And when they do find issues, what do you do next?
YouTube is a very untapped area right now that I think if you spun it, hey, if you'd like to learn more about the home selling or buying process, reach out to us. They reach out to you, refer the business out.
It was great seeing you guys. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.